Yet another terrorist attack was committed by a Palestinian in Huwarrah this week. Just how much more of this can Israelis take? Also, the Iron Dome malfunctioned when Israel needed it most. And Israelis, well, they really love their fruit roll-ups. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Okay, so just out in the news, there is another terrorist attack that happened in the Arab community of Huwarrah. I'm reading from the Jerusalem Post. It says, a stabbing attack was carried out in the West Bank town of Huwarrah on Thursday morning, according to an IDF statement. The terrorist targeted an IDF soldier who pushed her away and was able to neutralize the threat with the help of other security officers. The terrorist was killed at the scene and the lightly injured soldier was taken to the Rabin Medical Center, Belenson Hospital in Petah Tikva. The IDF has completed a series of security measures that were implemented to reduce terror and tensions in the Palestinian village of Huwarrah in the West Bank, they announced on Tuesday. In recent months, 3 Palestinian terror attacks were carried out against Jewish settlers driving through Huwarrah. So a Palestinian woman, got close to some military personnel, pulled a knife, tried to stab a soldier. She was successful in stabbing him, although he wasn't seriously injured, and they shot her in response. So, there's not a whole lot of details out on this story yet, but obviously this could have been much, much worse for the soldier. Thank God he's only lightly injured. Also, I know, in the news, we kind of, because of the level of these terrorist attacks that happen, we tend to glaze over the term lightly injured. Oh, thank God somebody was only lightly injured. And that's very much an accurate statement. But it's only lightly injured in comparison to what tends to happen inside of these terrorists or inside with these terrorist attacks. Lightly injured in this scenario means he was stabbed with a knife. Stabbed with a knife by a random woman on the street who stabbed him for simply being Jewish and living in the land of Judea. It's like I said, we tend to glaze over that, but that's still, fairly serious injury, and, really hope this soldier recovers and has a smooth recovery. But, that really stinks to be in the hospital for being stabbed with a knife when it could have been completely avoided. You'll remember that in Huwarrah recently, we've had, this is the third in a string of attacks that have happened in Huwarrah. The Yaniv brothers from Huwarrah were shot execution style through their windshield while driving through Huwarrah back to Bracha. David Stern, the Israeli-American ex-Marine, was also shot execution style, and thank God he actually survived, pulled his weapon, and defended his wife and children, who probably also would have been murdered in the car if he had not been so quick on his feet. And just for clarity, and in case you don't know the situation, after the Oslo Accords, land in Judea and Samaria was divided up by jurisdiction into areas A, B, and C. Areas A are strictly under Palestinian Authority control, basically a quasi-Palestinian state. Area B is open areas to both Israelis and to non-Israelis that have, some level of cooperation between the Palestinian Authority and the Israeli military, freedom of travel and all that kind of thing for Israelis and non-Israelis. Area C are Israeli communities that Arabs, Palestinians can get work permits and special permission to come into, but other than that are just restricted for Israelis. And Huwarrah is an Area B. This is not just a Palestinian community. I mean, obviously this city for the most part is Palestinian, but thousands of Israelis drive through every single day to work, to take their kids to school, to shop at the grocery store, to visit relatives. There's a highway that goes right through. And it is so, so awful that Israelis on a daily basis have to drive through this community knowing that there's a decent chance that a random Palestinian could draw a gun and shoot them in the head through their windshield or jump out with a knife and try to kill them. And this is an awful situation. This really is an awful situation, and it makes you wonder how much more can the residents of the Israeli communities surrounding Huwarrah take before something more drastic happened. We had a couple of months ago some young residents of one of the local Israeli communities come down and set some cars on fire and throw some rocks and that kind of thing, which in my opinion was a very moderate response to the terrorist attacks that have been committed there in Huwarrah. But it makes you wonder, really makes you wonder, the level of restraint that has been showed by local Israeli residents, how much longer they really can take this type of situation. All right, guys, right here in the middle of the show, I want to ask you if you enjoy these very quick updates as to what's going on inside of Israel, these breakdowns as to the current news happening inside of Israel. Do us a favor and do you a favor and hit the subscribe button below the video. Hit the little bell next to it so that you can get all of these videos directly in your inbox every single week. We work hard to bring this content to you, and we really enjoy what we do, but we want you to also enjoy it and have easy access to each and every video that we drop every day out of the 5 days of the week. Also, we want to take a second to talk to you guys about the Israel Bible, your go-to Bible for the most unique and accurate insights into the land of Israel. We know how important it is to study the Bible through an authentic Hebrew lens. That's why the Israel Bible offers an exclusive commentary alongside the original Hebrew text and a crystal clear English translation. Studying the Bible has never been easier. With charts, lists, maps, and introductions on every book, the Israel Bible provides the perfect platform for you to dive deep into the Word of God. And guess what? You don't need to be a Hebrew expert to read the authentic Hebrew text. The Israel Bible includes English translations and transliterations, making it accessible to everyone. By exploring the Bible in its original language, you'll unlock a deeper understanding of the text and bringing you closer to the heart of God's message. Here's the best part. For our loyal Israel Guys viewers, we have an exclusive offer. Use the code IsraelGuys at checkout and you'll get the Israel Bible for just $19.95. That's 70% off the retail price of $69.95. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to own a Bible that highlights the land, people, and God of Israel on every page. Strengthen your faith and deepen your understanding of the Bible with the Israel Bible. Remember, use the code IsraelGuys at checkout to get this amazing deal. Also, as you know, Israel has been in the middle of another kerfuffle with Gaza, where Hamas has been shooting tens of rockets over the border directly into Israeli population centers. And this week, it looks like there was a bit of a technical glitch with the Iron Dome. This is from the Times of Israel here. An Israeli Air Force investigation into the activity of the Iron Dome air defense system during a flare-up of violence with the Gaza Strip earlier this week revealed a technical error during one of the rocket barrages that resulted in projectiles not being intercepted before they landed in populated areas. The military said Thursday that the issue, which occurred on Tuesday afternoon, was fixed by the Israeli Air Force immediately after it was discovered and did not reoccur on Tuesday evening or in the early hours of Wednesday when more rockets were fired. The Tuesday afternoon barrage saw several rockets slam into populated areas in southern Israel, including one that hit a construction site in the city of Sderot and wounded 3 foreign nationals. According to the military, over 100 projectiles, including rockets, mortars, shoulder-launched missiles fired at Israeli aircraft, were launched from Gaza during the fighting that began Tuesday morning and ended Wednesday morning. The Iron Dome intercepted 24 of the projectiles. Another 48 projectiles landed in open areas in southern Israel. 14 fell short in Gaza, 11 landed in the sea, and another 7 had unknown impact sites. So there was a technical glitch with the Iron Dome, and several rockets landed in population centers. Thank God no one was killed, although there were a couple of people injured, and we'll kind of have to keep tabs on how they're doing. Hopefully, please God, there'll be a very quick recovery for those people. But guys, this is a wild situation. I think kind of like the terrorist attacks, we tend to get immune to this idea that Hamas every couple of weeks or every couple of months just launches missiles over its border in the population centers inside of Israel. But if you really stop to think about this, this is nuts. This is nuts to have a terrorist state living directly over your border, in some cases just several hundred meters, away from Israeli communities cities that live really close to the border. And Hamas, whenever they feel like it, just launch a barrage of hundreds or thousands of rockets, what they call rockets, small missiles, into Israel, haphazardly just pointed into random population centers. Like, In case you don't remember, launching missiles or any type of explosive devices into random population centers that are not targeting actual military infrastructure is a war crime. And Hamas has been doing this for years and years and years and years. They launch hundreds of thousands of rockets, and they just launch them into civilian sites for the express purpose of killing civilians. And thank God they have the Iron Dome to intercept these missiles. And they do intercept most of them. There's very, very small loss of life inside of Israel because of the Iron Dome. But if Israel did not have the Iron Dome, as we see right here when it malfunctioned, if Israel did not have the Iron Dome, how many Israelis would be killed or wounded on a daily basis? And Israel puts up with this. They put up with this because of international pressure, because the world puts an absolute pressure cap on Israel anytime they try to respond to these rockets that fly out of Gaza. And the world tries to make this kind of comparable situation. Oh, Hamas fires rockets in Israel and Israel fires missiles back. And it's this back and forth of Hamas firing missiles and Israel firing missiles back. And that is absolutely not what happens. Hamas stores up, gets missiles from Iran and from other places and builds them themselves, taking resources that should go to residents inside of Gaza, while residents inside of Gaza are starving with lack of all types of basic raw materials. Hamas takes his raw materials, makes them into missiles, funnels in missiles from Iran and other places, and then they fire them haphazardly into population centers inside of Israel. Israel, when enough projectiles have been fired, they respond by taking out specifically the rocket launching sites inside of Gaza, which is very difficult to do because Hamas hides the rocket launching sites next to hospitals, next to schools, next to kindergartens, next to playgrounds, next to, in the middle of neighborhoods, which in many cases makes it very difficult for Israel to respond. And in many cases, they will not take out these rocket launching sites for that specific reason. I mean, there's all kinds of, videos leaked out on the internet of the drone pilots or the Air Force pilots where they have the rocket launching site in their sights and they're talking on the radio and then they get a warning that says, look, no, there's kids over there. There's a school, 200 meters off to the left, and they call off the strike and they say, no, we're not going to do it. We'll let them fire the rocket rather than kill innocent civilians inside of Gaza. And sure, civilians still do die inside of Gaza due to Israeli response to the rockets being launched, but that is absolutely not Israel's fault. Israel does everything they absolutely possibly can to avoid civilian loss of life when responding to these rockets. And we see right here, 14 out of the 100 projectiles fired from Hamas fell short back into Gaza, landing presumably back near population centers inside of Gaza. And we've seen this over and over and over again. Hamas releases a death count after one of these, conflagrations. They release a death count and say, 25 Palestinians were killed by Israeli airstrikes. And sure, some are killed as collateral inside of, because of airstrikes, because of Israel. It just happens. It happens in war. But a good few of them are killed by these rockets being shot out of neighborhoods, out of schools, out of hospitals by Hamas, and the rocket fails and falls right back down close to where it took off, killing innocent civilians. Like I said in a show a couple weeks ago, what we broke down, Hamas has Gaza in an absolute terrorist state. Gaza is run by Hamas, which is a terrorist state, and lives in absolute reign of terror every single day. So if we're going to pray for people, pray for Israel for continued protection. Also pray for the residents of Gaza to be able to rid themselves of this scum, of this vermin, of this evil that has taken over of Hamas, and to rid themselves once and for all. And also call on the UN. Hamas, for years and years and years, have been committing this blatant war crime of firing missiles into Israeli population centers, and Israel gets condemned so many times for its response to Hamas. And to my knowledge, Hamas has not been condemned a single time, maybe once or twice. I was having a difficult time finding the stats, but very, very, very rarely has Hamas ever been condemned by the Security Council or the Human Rights Council inside of the United Nations. And so I call on the world to take action to hold Hamas accountable, hold them accountable for what they are doing to Israel. Okay, before we go, we have one more kind of funny story of American couples have been caught by Israeli customs attempting to smuggle fruit roll-ups into Israel. Take a look at this video right here.
3 מזוודות. פתח לי פה רגע את זה.
This is from Arut Sheva. It says, in total, more than 650 pounds of fruit roll-ups were being smuggled into Israel as the country experiences a dire shortage of the snack due to a TikTok craze. The video posted on Tuesday by Mako, an Israeli news website, appears to show customs officials at Ben Gurion International Airport sifting through at least 3 open suitcases, each filled with hundreds of the colorful, sugary treats. So apparently there's a TikTok craze inside of Israel where people really got into these fruit roll-ups and they just wiped out the supply inside of Israel. And so couples have been caught trying to smuggle suitcases of these into Israel without paying customs, presumably to make a fortune inside of Israel, or maybe they just have a lot of relatives. But I just thought that was kind of a funny story. They apparently need to fix their fruit roll-up supply chain coming into Israel. But hey, if you're going to smuggle stuff into a country, fruit roll-ups is a much better way to go versus snakes and lizards, like we talked about on the show a while back, where a man tried to smuggle in some snakes and lizards and was caught in customs. They're just like sitting in socks inside of his backpack, which is disgusting and horrifying at the same time. All right, guys, if you liked this show, like I said, please subscribe down below so that you can have this stuff coming straight into your inbox. And don't forget to get the conversation going below. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to purchase a copy of the Israel Bible and take advantage of the 70% off sale that we have rolling right now. This is a crazy sale, guys. This is a really, really cool Bible. I encourage you, go check it out. And if you're going to buy one, do it now because, like I said, the sale won't last very long. This is a 70% off sale. Please go take advantage of it. Use the code IsraelGuys at checkout. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.